Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. First thing you'll probably notice is how the game feels when you move around the menus. Navigation is just cleaner now. Screens that used to feel slightly boxed in, especially competition stages and season previews, are now presented in a more open, full screen way. It doesn't change what information you're getting, but it changes how it's delivered. And that actually makes a big difference when you're deep into a save and constantly jumping between fixtures, tables, and squad planning. It feels less like you're clicking through layers and more like everything is laid out naturally in front of you. Over the course of a long save, that kind of comfort adds up. The squad view has also had some much needed love. If you're the kind of manager who customizes columns, reorders stats, and wants specific info visible without extra clicks, this update makes that process smoother and more reliable. Columns behave better, layouts stick more consistently, and overall, it just feels like the game is respecting how you personally want to view your team. It's subtle, but anyone who spends hours analyzing player attributes and performance data will appreciate it immediately. On the stability side, this patch quietly fixes some genuinely annoying problems. One of the bigger ones involved freezes when using instant result in certain modes, especially hot seat style setups. That issue could completely kill the flow of a save, so seeing it addressed is a big relief. Beyond that, there are general crash and performance improvements that don't always get the spotlight, but they're crucial. The game runs more reliably across long sessions, which is exactly what you want from a management sim where people regularly play for entire evenings without realizing how much time has passed. Transfers and AI behavior also get an interesting tweak here, and this is where long-term saves might start to feel different. Big clubs, especially in leagues with massive financial power, have been adjusted in how they approach older players. Previously, you might have seen top teams throwing huge wages and transfer fees at players clearly past their peak, which sometimes broke realism and squad balance. Now, those clubs are a bit more cautious. They still value experience, but they're less likely to overspend purely on reputation. That change should make squad building more believable over multiple seasons and give younger players a better chance to break through instead of being blocked by expensive short-term signings. Matchday flow also benefits from smaller fixes that you might not consciously notice, but you'll feel them. Certain interface delays and odd transitions have been smoothed out, which helps matches feel less stop-start. The core match engine hasn't been overhauled here, but the way information is presented during and around games feels more polished, which keeps you focused on decisions instead of distractions. Another important thing about this update is its scale. Sports Interactive have effectively bundled a larger set of fixes into this release than they usually would. That suggests they're actively responding to feedback from the first phase of the game's lifecycle, especially from players running longer saves or using less common modes. It also sets expectations that future patches may continue refining rather than reinventing, focusing on making the overall experience more solid rather than constantly shifting systems around. For console and touch players, it's worth mentioning that these improvements are part of a staggered rollout. Platform-specific certification always means some people get updates later than others, but the content itself remains consistent. So once it lands on your system, you're getting the same improvements under the hood. The important thing is that this isn't a PC-only polish pass. It's aimed at the wider FM community. When you put it all together, this update feels like one of those foundational patches. It doesn't try to redefine the game, but it strengthens it in areas that matter when you're deep into a career, juggling tactics, transfers, training, and long-term planning. Menus feel better, squads are easier to manage, the AI behaves a bit more sensibly, and the game is simply more stable. That combination is exactly what keeps a save alive for dozens or even hundreds of hours. So if you've already been enjoying your FM26 save, this update should make it feel smoother and more enjoyable without forcing you to relearn anything. And if you were holding off because of small annoyances or technical issues, this patch goes a long way toward addressing those concerns. It's a quiet but meaningful step forward, and one that shows the developers are listening and refining rather than overcorrecting.